If all this talk of anima transfusions and funky beavers has you perplexed, you're in the right place. Let's jump into forestry together. If you have the lumberjack outfit, put it on. I don't have it, but I do have this Robin Hood hat, which I think counts for something. To start forestry, you need a forestry kit. The kit is obtained from this guy, which you may recognize, that can be found squatting outside of the Draenor Bank. Talk to him, right-click to shop his store, and take your free forestry kit. You have to either wear this on your back or have it in your inventory to participate in forestry. Congratulations! You are officially a forester and can legally squat anywhere you like. So what is forestry? Well, forestry is a social expansion on woodcutting. What the hell does that mean? Well, combine Wintertod chat with the same chop woodcutting you've been doing for the past 20 years and boom, you have forestry. Okay, there are some new mechanics that make chopping trees as a group less annoying. First, everyone chopping the same tree gets a +1 boost for every other player chopping that tree, up to a maximum +10 boost. Second, instead of falling over randomly after a player chippity chops, the tree will now deplete after a set amount of time, which can be looked up on the wiki. This is nice because it removes the need to compete for trees. Lastly, there are new events that occur randomly, which we'll get into later. First things first, hop to a forestry world. The more populated, the better. I prioritize reward points over XP when ranking locations because if you're going for XP, you shouldn't be doing forestry. Out of all the woodcutting hotspots I've tried, Draenor Village is by far the best for racking up reward points. I've narrowed this down to a few reasons. There are tons of foresters. The more foresters chopping logs, the higher the likelihood of forestry events occurring. The sheer number of trees to cut, combined with the fact that willows and oaks deplete quickly, allows for struggling sapling events to spawn more frequently than other spots. And finally, there are two distinct forestry spots here which can be hopped between, increasing the number of events you're able to participate in without wasting time teleporting around. Okay. You want the best XP rates that forestry has to offer. From what I've seen, the hardwoods and prifddinas are the best mix of good XP rates and forestry events. The events per hour are much lower than Draenor Village, but they happen more frequently than Magic, Tree, or U spots. The one thing to note is that a lot of players here want to bank their logs, meaning you will see your fair share of leprechaun events in place of the others. You might be wondering why you need this highfalutin knapsack for an activity you've been doing longer than the average TikTok user has been alive. But this kit is actually a very picky bottomless pit that allows you to store all of your neato forestry items, such as the reward points, anima-infused bark, entire bee colonies, nature offerings, the new worst use for Snapdragon, Forester's rations, which allow you to replenish run energy during an activity where you primarily stand still, and all of these leaves that currently have no use. Now, the bread and butter of forestry are the new random events that you and your fellow foresters tackle together. The way I understand the events is that every time a log is chopped, there is a chance for one of these events to spawn, which should mean the more players you're chopping with, the better chance of an event to spawn around you. There are currently 2 events that require someone to have a specific item in their kit to be eligible to spawn. These are the Flowering Bush and Woodcutting Leprechaun, which require the Bee on a Stick and Leprechaun Charm respectively. If you're going for rewards, the current meta is to never have a Leprechaun Charm because the Leprechaun event takes the place of an event that would otherwise reward you with bark. There are currently 3 events that you'll want to prioritize for rewards. The Rising Roots event is the simplest. Roots will start growing out of the ground, threatening to choke the life out of your grove or something. I don't really understand why we need to chop the roots. As they rise up out of the ground, chop them like you would a tree, and you'll be rewarded with anima-infused bark. There is one specific root in every patch that you want to watch for as it provides more than twice the rate of reward points, and this is the anima-infused root. Whenever it pops up, chop it. Pro tip. If you're having trouble discerning the anima-infused root from the normal ones, use the object marker plugin to mark it once you do find it. You'll have to do this for every anima-infused root tile once, but the next time that tile spawns one, it will be marked. The Flowering Bush event requires one of the foresters to have a bee on a stick, which is consumed upon the event spawning. You can participate in the event without a bee on a stick. However, having a bee on a stick increases the reward points you receive tremendously, so it's highly recommended to invest your points in a few bee on a sticks. The goal of this event is to help the bushes pollinate by carrying pollen between two flowering bushes. The two bushes eligible for pollination are random, and you'll just need to check each of them until you find the two that are open. Once you find them, click between the two plants until they grow fruit, in which case you'll need to move on and find the next two bushes. You'll know you did a good job when the bushes explode, which, as we all know, is the final stage of pollination. Currently, it's a lot of trial and error. There are swarms of bees that can be seen traveling between plants, but I usually can't see them well, and I'm not even sure if they mean anything, so I just brute force it each time. Some quick bee on a stick analysis. I spent my first points on 5 pollen, which creates 50 bees on a stick, and those lasted me all the way to 15,000 points. 1 pollen costs 300 reward points, which creates 10 bees on a stick, making the cost per bee on a stick 30 reward points. 1 bee on a stick is used per flowering bush event, but having the bee on a stick more than doubles the amount of reward points you receive from the event, netting you around 250 reward points per use, which is definitely worth the investment. Bee on a stick. The struggling sapling event is the most complicated, but it's also the most fun. This event spawns in the place of a felled tree. Your job is to fill this sapling's health bar before the blue bar depletes. To heal the sapling, you have to feed it mulch, which you create out of 3 parts of any of the 5 resource piles around the sapling. There is an optimal combination of the 5 types of mulch, which is randomized, that will reward you the most and heal the highest. There are nuances around how potent your mulch is depending on how close you are to the correct set, but we're not going for 40% or 70%, we're going for 100%. So the only combination we care about is the correct combination. There are 125 unique combinations here, which might seem overwhelming, but there are 2 mechanics that come in clutch. The sapling will tell you if you have the right resource in the right spot. And you're not alone. Fellow foresters can help by calling out the right combo once they find it. Here is the best way to find the right combination. Grab 3 of any resource pile and give it to the sapling. Read the chat. If that type of mulch is supposed to go in spots 1, 2, or 3, it will let you know. Now move to the next resource pile and fill any slot we don't have an answer for, then give it to the sapling. Rinse and repeat until you have the right combination, avoiding piles that you have excluded. It's a simple game of deduction, sort of like Wordle. The beauty of this method is that it eliminates possibilities very quickly while still earning points along the way, making sure you're not left empty-handed. Once you find the right combination, be a good forester and call it out in chat. The trees will thank you. And that's all there is to forestry. You are now an expert forester. Grab your friends, throw on some tights, and get out there to save the trees. We're just 2 foresters and we're having a good time. Having a good time. Having a good time.